This is That Song About Lincoln from Stephen Cogswell. Get it at Awtfy, AWTFY.com/non, N-O-N.
It was called Hard Drinkin' Lincoln, and I still, 20 years later, remember the fucking theme song where it was like, bum, 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 Abraham Lincoln is deserving of glory, but when he starts drinking, it's a whole nother story. The great emancipator becomes an Irish, becomes a something. He's a public estimator. He's a fervent agitator. Abraham Lincoln, Hard Drinkin' Lincoln. That's me.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to give you those 16 points just for that.
No! Oh, let's start this show! Oh, hello, you beautiful people. Also, I'm live in Hawaii. Welcome to Night Attack. In the middle of the day in a public park, live from Hawaii. I'm Brian Brushwood here with Bonnie Brushwood. Joined as always by my BFF and OAK. It's J.R.Y. Justin, Robert Young. Hey, if it matters, I do remember the song now.
Nope. Nope.
It's-
You got one shot, and now it's enshrined forever. Brian Brushwood, welcome. You and Bonnie are in a public park, not in your home state of Texas, not in the mainland of America. Can you please now reveal for the first time where you are located for this episode of the show?
Yeah, man, we're in the last couple of days of this Hawaii trip that we planned over a year ago with our whole family, extended family. The Butter Brothers back at the house. We got mom and dad, the kids running around. We got, man, it's been crazy. And we're in Waikiki right now. And in fact, here, look, take a look at this. We got the freaking paradise. Let's pave that shit. Put up a parking lot.
Fuck yeah! I'll tell you what. Somebody find the cheeseburger. That is an amazing view. And this is not a short trip. Bonnie, how long have you guys been on the road here?
Oh, 2 weeks.
I swear, I thought you were going to say too long.
I think that was very
I think
well
I
baked
did
into
with my
the sub-
intonation.
Sorry, then I called it out and then I ruined it. Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Well, I have actually not talked to you. We went on the tour. You literally came back to Texas for like 24 hours, and then you packed up the kids and went out on this Hawaii trip. So I really haven't spoken to you at all, not even our weekly episodes, because we had a rerun last week. What's been going on? Give me the rundown.
Well, the important thing is to remember it's the great emancipator becomes an irritator. He's a
Shut
fervent
up.
Irish
Shut up.
hater,
You
a
literally
public
had your shot.
masturbator.
You cut his mic. You don't have a chance to re-say it. You said it once. It's there forever.
Man, we this was all this is one of those things where it's like I don't know, classic family vacation. I have not taken a vacation this long, I believe, in the 21st century, because I think we did when we went to Venezuela in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, but we were college students, so it didn't matter.
Right, everything was a vacation back then, right? So
Yeah.
But since then, this is the longest, and even then, I mean, it's pretty clear that it's a working vacation because, well, here, let's talk about all the stuff that we've done. Cruise ships. You ever been on a cruise ship, Justin?
Indeed, I have. You know, but in South Florida, that's a fairly popular thing to do because they go out of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and so it's always fairly cheap. So almost everybody's been to the Lido deck of a cruise ship. There's always the limbo, right? An activity director. You have to wait until you're into international waters so you can gamble. All the fun
I'm in
things.
limbo, all right.
I don't know if you heard that. She said she's in limbo, all right.
Oh, no, I heard it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And by the way, her withering voice told the real story.
We're just at that phase, like with any long vacation, you get a little fatigued in that last 15%. You just man, like, wow, sleeping in your own bed, that sounds pretty good, right?
You know, I remember the last time when Ashley and I were out in Europe in England, we were like, this is great, but there comes like those last like 3 days where you're like, I'm only having fun by obligation. Like, just because I know that if at some point I'm going to be like, someone's going to be like, oh, did you ever go to this castle? And I'm going to be like, no, we left early. And then I'll be like, that's what an asshole move. I should have went to that castle. So now we're literally just like, no, we're having this nice meal because we have to.
Yeah. Oh, I'll show you, future guy who asks me whether or not I had this meal. Yeah, I had it.
Yeah.
Well, so we had never been on a.
I am of, if all travel was instantaneous, a week is the max for any vacation. Like if you do a solid 7 days, if you could cut off travel and actually have it be 7 days enjoying something, and you teleport in, you teleport out, that's pretty much the max of what you should do.
Yeah, man, I'm worried about the travel back because it's going to be 2-day journey. Because first we have to get back to the mainland, and then we arrive like at midnight, and then we have to leave again the next day to travel all the way back to Austin or whatever. But so doing a cruise ship was a new adventure. Neither of us had ever been on a cruise ship, and Bonnie was absolutely paranoid for that Callie would just run and jump over the edge. So Bonnie has been like forcing premium swimming lessons on Callie for 6 months. Like
that would save you from ocean swimming, apparently.
Yeah,
like
in your mind.
Yeah,
she'll be fine.
But can I? This is a betrayal of trust, but you sent a email to Andrew and I describing how excited you were for a cruise ship vacation. Do you mind if I paraphrase how you described?
I think I said I think I wrote Andrew saying, "Hey, I'm on a cruise. I know you worked cruise ships. I am not a cruise person. To me, cruise ships is waiting in lines the game." Which is not necessarily my bag. What can I do?
If you want to know, if you want a living example of how much Brian Brushwood has an irrational hatred, like a real burning, more than to be a successful businessman, maybe even more to be a good husband and good father to his family. He has a burning hatred for lines, so much so that if you are a patron, you can download right now the unbroken 3-hour journey we took from the car ride back from San Diego to LA, wherein Brian is so fed up with waiting in a drive-through line at a Del Taco to get a soda. Hops out of the car while we're waiting. He's the only person who wants anything. Hops out of the car so he can go wait in what he assumes is a shorter line inside. There is no line that cannot be gamed for Brian.
Oh my God. This has been an ongoing thing in our relationship. And now I've just kind of like just given over to it. It's like if we go anywhere that there might be a line, I'm like, oh yeah, here comes the excuse. Bonnie, I'm gonna go do that. And you have all 3 children. They're all screaming. That's fine. And you're just gonna, yeah, okay, bye. And I'm like, just take one child. No.
So not a fan of lines. No. And Andrew's advice was literally do anything you can off the boat. The boat is your hotel room. Get off the boat every chance you get.
Yeah.
So we did that. We did a lot of those excursions. Although I talked about this a little bit in the after talk on Cord Killers. First night and getting on the boat and you're like, oh, it's smaller, more cramped than I would figure. And then you go out to sea and you're like, oh, there's no land visible. Like if this boat goes down, people die. And oh yeah, Titanic, that wasn't just a curious love story. That was a real tragedy that happened to people. And then I think back to when we were in Nova Scotia and we visited this memorial of all these pillars of those lost at sea. And the most harrowing part of it was the 3 remaining blank pillars they had left for those incoming names of Nova Scotians who are going to be lost at sea. And so then it occurs, so I'm like, I could deal with this in the boat, out at sea, rocking back and forth. And it's like, oh, I think this would really put me to sleep if it would be very comforting with all the white noise and the rocking if I wasn't in the back of my head just thinking about, what this would look like all flooded and me and my family, all my eggs in one basket. And then I throw that basket into the water and just hope no one pokes a hole in the basket. And then I finally drift off to sleep. And me and sleep have a strained relationship.
A finicky relationship. And I will pause you real quick right there. That for a co-host of this show, it would probably be among the funniest ways for you to die is because a boat sank. Just for the record. Go ahead.
I could just see at my funeral, everybody's there with solemn voices, and then the priest is like, "And lo, though he was lost when a boat sank," and then the snickers start and full on, everyone's full on cackling.
But only if it was because of a fire, right?
Well, okay, so I finally drift off to sleep, and it's beautiful. It's like being in a giant multi-megaton hammock that may sink at any moment. And then at 3:45 in the morning, a full-on blind. Oh, the other thing that made it real was like hey guys, we got to do the safety drill, and it's not like the FAA safety drill. We're like, put on a seatbelt. Here's a flotation device. What's the matter? We're gonna either crash and die or not, whatever. But then they're like, hey, yo, listen up. This is real shit right here. Because if we go down, you got to participate. You got to be, practice getting to this spot. And here's how you get in the fucking boat and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, Jesus, this is all very real. At 3:45, blasts the same sound that they use for the general all hands get the fuck off the boat alert in our room. This isn't like a down the hallway thing. In our room, full blast is like beep, beep, beep. And then this calm, collected voice says, all hands, repeat, all hands. We have a code, bravo, 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 all hands. This is not a drill. And then, and so I'm like, well, what is that? Okay.
Is that me? Am I a hand?
Yeah, yes. And I look over and body is just like, goes down and nobody's.
I sat up a little bit. I heard the words young one and decided that a child had been lost at sea, but it wasn't mine.
You see, you rolled over and went to bed. So I hear that now. Luckily, I had paid the hey, who's got a guess on what it costs to have internet on a cruise ship?
Oh, I know it's a lot. Andrew actually knew one of the guys that pioneered that started one of those first companies. I think it's since been sold, but I have not been on a cruise since that was available. But if I were to take a guess, and Bryce hazard one here too with me, I would say it would probably be around $30 a day.
Yeah, I would even go up to $50 a day.
$50 a day. Brian, how much did it cost to have internet on a cruise?
Open Bayou has it right. The default is $30 for 30 minutes.
Fuck.
Woo!
Jesus.
Or you could do $50 a day.
Oh.
So Bryce was right as well.
Okay, the Bryce is right.
Or if you wanted 5 days, I guess it was 5 full days because you have the day you're leaving and the day you come back or whatever. I think 5 or 6 days, $250. $250 for roughly dial-up, right?
Yeah.
Although they make sure to say you're allowed to download video clips, and I'm like, what are you, mocking us? What is that?
You can do whatever you'd like on the internet.
Yeah, right?
Also, it's like, listen, as soon as you get into the tent and they mark your back with chalk, who gives a fuck? Like, yeah, no, you can do VR porn. Right? Whatever. Just give us $250 and shut up, dweeb.
Because I have that internet, I was like, well, let me open up my phone, and I'm awake now. Maybe I could call myself and go back to sleep. Let me just type in, and as I pull out my phone, I hear down the hallway some kind of like birda 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 beata birda birda, and I was just like, well, I guess they're passing that whatever that Bravo message is all around here, one room at a time, I assume, or one deck at a time. So I type in a BRAVO, Bravo 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 cruise ship, and then what pops up is a wiki article saying, yes, Bravo 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 is used when there's a serious incident, usually a fire, and they don't want to panic the shipgoers. So I'm like, well, I mean, is it necessarily a fire? And how serious is serious, right?
But that's what the whole thing about the meeting earlier was, that the worst thing is a fire. Like, fires are the thing that takes down ships. So no smoking here, no doing this and that. And then we're like,
because by the way, the thing, you had a rookie worry And Bonnie, you too. You had rookie cruise ship worries of like someone's gonna fall off the boat. They've had gigantic nets, like to the point where an Olympic distance long jumper couldn't, if they wanted, like go off the side of a boat. It's usually it's like it's lower where like you can't just fall in, right? And Brian, a cruise ship hasn't sank in years and years. The real worry that you should have rightly had, specifically when there was a fire, is the actual thing that happens on cruise ships fairly regularly, which is the power goes out and they don't have a way but to basically like float on generator power back to wherever they're going, and everybody gets staph infections and everybody gets sick and everybody's vomiting and they don't have any food. That's real worry.
That too. We did have the power go out.
Yeah, that was fun. As I was recording the Bombfell ad, actually, when I was setting it up. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, maybe this Bravo thing, I'm getting it out of proportion. Let me look up other stories of people's Bravo things, and all of them are like, hey, they said Bravo, Bravo, Bravo. I thought, oh, a little fire. Well, we didn't go back to port, but there was smoke. We had to spend 6 hours in flotation gear doing blah 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 blah. That dog looks like sneakers. And anyway, all I'm reading is abject misery, and I spend 45 minutes reading about what a disaster it's about to be. And finally, I'm like, well, it hadn't happened, so I'm just going to go to bed. And then the next day, man, you try to get the real word out of the employees, they're clam up, man.
No.
They're all
God,
just like,
no.
oh, was there an incident? I didn't know. I guess I slept through it.
You missed the chattiest person is the tea cart lady, and she was telling your mom, oh yeah, there was this fire and this is blah blah blah, not a big deal. So she told her everything. Just
She was literally spilling all the tea. I like to imagine, Brian, that you're like Googling your like Bravo, Bravo, Bravo stories, and you just like are going down the rabbit hole, and it's like, oh, Bravo, Bravo, Bravo. Oh, the fire. Oh my God, here's a fire that knocked out the power. Oh my God, here's a fire that burned somebody alive. Oh my God, here's the I never thought it would happen to me, Bravo, Bravo, Bravo story. Oh man, and you go into this bizarre
Bravo,
world
Bravo
of cruise
story.
ship centric disaster porn.
Bravo, Bravo, Bravo. We're at full penetration. Ahead.
Family park, sweetie.
So at any rate, after that, you learn how everything works on cruise ships. There's one thing that I wish they would institute all the time, which is every time you walk into or out of any place anybody eats, they have a guard there with a spray bottle of 99% isopropyl alcohol, and in the least threatening way they can, they point this gun at you and they say, "Washi washi." And then the ritual is, as you walk in and out of any restaurants, you hold your hands out, and they are like, "Don't believe you washed your hands. We're gonna do it for you."
Oh yeah, no, that's where shit really goes wrong when everybody's vomiting, because you can imagine that illness goes from 0 to 60 very quick on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that was the worst thing. Is the day we were loading on the boat.
Oh yeah, okay. So Callie, the day of the boat, Bonnie comes out, or I mentioned to Bonnie, she comes in because we're at the hotel, and I'm like, hey, Callie threw up. And at first I thought she was kind of playing, because she was going, "Hooah!" And I heard the sound, and then she flushed it, and I didn't see anything. I was like, oh, okay. And then, but I keep an eye on her, and she goes, I have to go throw up again. And so I follow her this time, and full on, she's just like, blah, just vomiting. And so I tell Bonnie when she comes in, I'm like, oh, Callie throw it up. I think, I don't know, a little stomach bug or something. And then Bonnie's eyes get wide as saucers, and she was like, "You are joking." And I'm like, why? No, I mean, it's, kids, they throw up, whatever. She's like, "You are joking." And she
Turn into Broden.
she explains that, like, you see this piece of paper? It says one thing. It says if you're throwing up, you have to report it, and you don't get to board the ship. And then I say I'm like, oh, it'll be fine, Bonnie. If it's and she goes, no. And we're like, your kids rally round. And she goes, listen up. Here's what we're gonna say. We're gonna say, like when they ask.
No,
whether
here,
or not
give
anybody's
the
thrown
mic
up,
to Bonnie. Bonnie, yeah, you read the riot act, and I want you in your sternest voice.
But more importantly, she starts spinning this tale, and it takes me a second to realize what she's doing, and I'm like, she's gonna tell all my kids to lie and get their stories straight.
Yes.
I'm just saying, oh, it's the motion sickness. And then Josie keeps all weekend long, the whole week, she just keeps going like, it's the motion sickness.
So you have to drill into the kids. Number one, snitches get stitches. Number two, nobody likes the person who ruins it for everybody. So how about we all understand that if one person gets a little mouthy, everyone's vacation is ruined, including all the families. So motion sickness, right?
So
Like, I'm the most honest person in the world, but here I was just like, I know she'll be better tomorrow, but then meanwhile, like we're just gonna be kicked off and we're gonna have to like fly back home or whatever.
well, and so I realize what she's doing by the second sentence, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna lie, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. And Bonnie's like, well, what if? And she's like, worst case scenario, Callie is denied entry, and you know what? I'll just hang out with her in a hotel room for the week.
I'm like, fuck you.
Oh my God! All right. Any more cruise ship tales? Any more lessons that you learned on the high seas?
Yeah, we did all the stereotypical touristy things, and they were all great. We went
Did you
to
do the
in a
limbo?
crater. They didn't. I don't think they had that. Oh, you know what? I did see a magician on the cruise ship.
Oh, a magician.
And so Bonnie didn't go, but I took Penny and Callie, or no, Penny and Josie.
Apparently, if you've seen one magician, you've seen them all.
Yeah, okay, so I'm like, well, I gotta go see the illusionist, right? And so I go. We're watching the show, and I'm like, and it's polished and great. And there comes a moment where he sets out 5 paper bags and sets them all in a line and starts doing this script. And then Penny gets up and just walks off. And I was like, oh, is everything okay? So I stand up and I walk out and I follow Penny out to the back of the theater. I'm like, hey, sweetie, is everything okay? She's like, Dad, I know what he's about to do. And I don't want to feel that tension. I don't want to be here for it. I'm just going to go take a break. I'll come back in a few minutes. Because she realizes that when there's 5 bags set on out, paper bags, you get ready to do that smash and stab thing, right? And so I'm like, well, okay, well, I mean, I'll hang out with you or whatever. And then as I'm saying this, or I was like, yeah, you go ahead. And it's like I'm at the back of the theater. And I was like, well, let me grab a beer while I'm here. And so I'm getting a beer from the beer cart in the back of the room. And the guy is saying like, this is a spike. Here's 5 bags, and I'm gonna mix all these bags up and slam my hand down. And he says, now if you Google on the internet, magician, stab, trick, this is what you see. And I was like, holy shit, is what I think about to happen? And sure enough, the very first in the montage of smash and stab fails is me. All of a sudden, I see myself up on the screen doing the hand stab thing, and it's like spinning it, and I'm like, and if all goes well, and I slam the hand down, and I see the audience all react, and I'm sitting here with my drink cart out and a Miller Lite in my hand, talking to the bartender, and I'm like, that's me. And he's like, what? And I'm like, that's my video. And he's like, what?
That's fucking amazing.
And let's just be clear, it's hardly a fail when it gets you on the Tonight Show, because that was right.
Well, and so it was one of those things where I was like,
come on, you don't need to fucking big dick him when he already has his video as part of this dude's montage. Like,
well, and so at that point, I was like, well, I'm managing the kids, and you go in, you're like, I'm gonna watch a show, and if the show's no good, maybe I'll just or whatever. But instead, I was like, well,
all right,
now I have to go
Brian, cut the shit. Your fucking dick grew 3 sizes immediately, right?
Well, so now
Not the flattering his video. I mean, it makes him look like he's a total idiot.
No,
well,
no,
yes.
no. It's double. It's a double treat because number one, not only is this the point of that video was virality, right? It was to have people spread it around. It has now spread into the about as far as the United States' reach into the Pacific Ocean, but it also is a hoax. And so either the guy knows it's a hoax and is like, great job, I'm going to put you in my montage. Or he's like, ha, 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 fucking idiot. At which point Brian wins double because he tricked him.
Well, and that's the other thing is my parents were in the audience and my family was in the audience. And so after the montage, his next line is like, all those other magicians, amateurs. And again, that's the right line. When you're the guy on stage, everyone else is the devil, right?
So hold on, wait. So all the Brushwoods were in the audience. The family was
except
being
for
represented.
Except for me. I'm sleeping. But my neighbor, just about that video, though, my neighbor came up to me and says, I just saw this video where Brian, like, stabbed his hand. Does he still have a scar from that? And, so it's pretty convincing. So.
No. It looks great. All right. Which of your family heckled? Because my money's on your mom. My money's on your mom heckling.
Yeah, definitely my mom. My mom, she was just like, she's not an amateur. Well, and so we went up afterwards. I sort of lingered at the end. And I was like, man, I'm pretty out of character with the beard and the hair down. And, maybe he just found the video and just threw it on there or whatever. And then being near the last person in line, the first thing he says is like, Brian Brushwood, what are you doing here? And then the next words out of his mouth, before I can even respond, he goes, this is so messed up because that's your video in there and I didn't ask permission. Is that okay? And then he says, and the craziest part is it's even fake, but it's just so good. I just and I was like, it's great, man. It's great. It's a good deal. And he's like, oh, and then I called you an amateur. I'm like, yeah, no, that's what you do. That's all good storytelling.
Rolled over so you could scratch your belly.
Yeah.
That guy had to be so terrified.
He was great. He was super cool. We had a really good time. We ended up hanging out a couple of the nights there, and it's amazing. No matter what the environment, when you're talking, having drinks with another working magician or variety entertainer, it's no matter where you are, you're suddenly back at a NACA conference. You're talking about the same 20 people that both of you know, how you guys worked as. In fact, I found out that after I stopped performing at this one college, like my 11th or 12th year in a row, he was the one that came in afterwards and has now worked it the last 5 years. No, it was a delightful time, but what a surprise to find yourself up there on stage.
Holy shit, man. You want to know what else is amazing? Everything that you can get when you become a patron at patreon.com/nightattack. I mentioned it before, but it ain't no fucking jive, dude. 3 unbroken hours of Brian Brushwood and Justin Robert Young and Bryce Castillo driving back from San Diego to LA. There was some really, really funny shit in here that I didn't. By the way, fun fact. I didn't realize that we were recording until a full 45 minutes into that trip. So
yeah, well, we had talked about it the night before, and I saw Bryce. You were driving, but I saw Bryce set down the microphone. And the reason we were doing it is because there was so much funny stuff. We were cracking each other up on the ride down to San Diego that it's like, well, let's just record it just in case. And I'll tell you what, if you have a 3-hour drive anywhere, probably a great thing to put on and just feel like, or 2.5-hour drive, you can feel like you're with us as we ride in the car and you get to meet characters like the old Pope.
Yeah,
the old
there.
Pope, please buy my corn chips.
I'm still
trying to make money selling the hottest new snack.
Somebody has to put, we did at least 20 minutes of Alex Jones narrating Planet Earth.
At least
20 minutes. Somebody needs to put those clips next to random Planet Earth Planet Earth things.
Christinos. Oh my God.
I've seen some people
jerks. Man, there's some really good stuff in there, and you can only get it if you are a patron. So go be a patron right now. Patreon.com/nightattack. You also get your own custom RSS feed. You get the pre-show and the post-show before anybody else. It comes right to your Patreon RSS feed. It's so easy. There's no login with the RSS feed. You literally just put it into your podcatcher and boom, bada bing, bada boom. You get everything so fast. Patreon.com/Night Attack.
Yeah. We even were able to put the Night Attack Escape to LA feed into the audio feed, so people didn't need to go into Patreon and download an MP3.
Right in there.
It was
all
right
of a sudden,
next to the show. Yeah.
Yeah, in your feed, imagine you get a free 3-hour unbroken long form podcast of Night Attack. It's the best.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what, it was so great being there with the live energy of all of us in the same place and hanging out, getting those spontaneous moments and having more stuff in the Patreon feed. It just makes me really wish that there was some place that you didn't have to get a hotel, that you could just come out and stay as long as you wanted in Austin for extended periods at a time. Wouldn't that be just dandy?
It would be pretty amazing, Brian. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, guess what, motherfucker? I got a pup date.
Pup date. Who's got the pup date?
Who got the pup date?
Ladies and gentlemen, patreon.com/Night Attack brings you the pup date. Pup date.
Who pupping the date?
I'm going to find a picture. Here's an update. A certain bank that had assured me everything would work with the lending turned out to be full of dog shit. And,
you mean pup shit?
And, pup shit, and wasted.
Let's piss off banks.
Yeah, call them out.
The bank.
Wasted. No, I'm not going to say which bank. I'm not going to say which bank.
All right. I'll just start naming banks, and you blink twice when it's the one that offended you.
I'm going to send you a
Bank of America.
Nations.
Navy Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, the government bank.
Take that, Navy Federal.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
We're going to keep lighting banks on fire until you admit which one did you wrong.
TD Ameritrade.
I'll meet you in the middle here. I'll meet you in the middle. I'm gonna send you a photo of me on a snorkel. This is a photo of me melting down.
This is vacation time. Yep. And then Brian's brother is just like, man, I just wish Brian could just relax, you know? And he takes this picture.
This is me finding out that the loan is not going to happen because they have wasted the last 2 weeks trying to sell me a financial product incompatible with this property.
Whoa.
Also,
Hold on.
Email it to me if you can.
Just for everybody, we haven't had a pup date on this show in a while. Let me just reset and reframe this for everybody. So Brian has signed an agreement that involved money that he cannot get back with the owner of this property that he wants to build on to be the new Modern Rogue Diamond Club Scam School facility, the Disney World of Brian Brushwood, right? Mm-hmm. He has gone literally the entire tour was dotted with him trying to get things in order with this one as to for unnamed horrible bank. And you're telling me that while you're on a boat in the Pacific fucking Ocean, 2 weeks into your 5 weeks that you have to negotiate with this owner, at which point you never get this money back again if this deal is not done, they decided to pull the fucking plug?
Well, it wasn't okay. So the ongoing issue was that we've talked about it. The house is mid renovation, so you walk in, it looks like the Fight Club house. It's a disaster, right? So for the first 2 weeks, it's like, hey, this is what it looks like. It's going to be like this, and then they're all like, well, maybe there's a bunch of different options. We can get it fixed beforehand. We could do an escrow withholding or whatever. And then at some point, they're like, yeah, we can't do escrow withholding. But maybe you can just get it all fixed up in time for closing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's possible. The guy's on vacation. He's not there. He was doing it himself. I don't think it's physically possible to finish by closing. So, I've got the money for the repairs. How about I just write you a check? You can hold it and pay it to the builder, do whatever you have to do. And then, and they're like, okay, well, let me check on it. Another week goes by and they call and they're like, yeah, it'd be really great if that could just, all those repairs and renovations could be done by, closing. And I'm like, dude, closing is in 2.5 weeks. That's please stop saying that. That's not possible. And then the dude calls back, and I sent to so now I think we're in our 3rd or 4th week now. We're far enough along, and they keep making this noise that I start quietly in the background like, man, I'm not entirely sure these guys are hearing me. And so this is a photo of before you show it, this is a photo of what my face looked like when they called again after a week of radio silence.
You need to send it again.
You can't just put my email address into your text message app, because then that just text messages to me, because that's tied.
Okay, well, I sent it to both from the text message app. Here,
right. If you can use the Gmail application.
So let me describe the surroundings.
Yeah.
So bluest water that you've ever seen. Dolphins jumping and splashing by the boat. Rainbows, because off in the distance there's always rainbows. It's always like sprinkling just perfectly. And
I can only imagine this is a very special moment for the girls, because this is a perfect a natural setting, right?
Right. They don't get a whole lot of boat time, so they're all like, weathering this whole boating experience, and then Brian's on the phone.
And so we've gotten on the boat. This is our first excursion. It's been chaos. We finally got settled. It's like, it's finally time to have a good time. And after a week of radio silence of telling me that they were definitely going to figure all this out, and there's no reason, I totally qualify for all the things, they call, and this is my face when the phone rings. I'm like, hey, what's the good word? And the answer is, hey, so you gonna have that renovation done by closing? And all of a sudden I realized
for the audio listeners, this is Brian with nothing less than a scowl on his face, hand on his hip, his a phone to his ear, and just to illustrate the scorn properly, his cop glasses are just gleaming in the sun with the fear of a man who has just been denied a bank loan.
What I love is that somehow the picture obscures the rest of the Jeep, but all you get from his T-shirt is not the Jeep image, but angry eyes staring out.
So I spent the next hour on the boat texting furiously.
Let me just illustrate what this means for everybody, because I don't feel like people really understand that the face that Brian is making right now is every bit of emotion that we got when Brian, when the property fell through the first time, and you can go back and listen to that episode where they were going to put up warehouses. Imagine that times whatever fury there is on already putting down a lot of money to pay this guy that is non-refundable, and the fact that this is all done. He had crossed the finish line. Now it was all for the paper pushers back in a home office, the bean counters to count their beans, and that's it. He's out on vacation, and his world has fallen down around his ass while everybody is playing with dolphins.
So now let's just talk about Brian Brushwood and how he loves lines, right? Because that's not a thing. Also, that's the way Brian feels about filling out paperwork. So he'd spent, oh my God, I mean, so many hours and hours on the road doing this paperwork at crazy expense of his own involvement.
In Australia.
In Australia. Yeah, that's right. In Australia. So we were taking all this time to do it. And it's literally painful for him to do paperwork. And then that's the pain on his face as you realize it meant nothing.
Well, and so actually that look is me demanding to see Life's manager. Like quite literally. He was like, oh, okay. Well, it was like, so is the, is it going to be fixed by closing? And I was like, have you not been, I didn't curse, but thank goodness that the engines were very loud, because otherwise that entire freaking boat would hear me going off on this guy. And okay. And I was like, for 2 weeks I've been telling you blah, 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 blah. And the guy, with the cavalier, dead eyes of somebody who works in the mortgage industry says, so you want to cancel the loan? And I'm like, no, I want your manager. And then I write a big letter and all this stuff. And I have to fire that off to my agent to let everybody know we're in panic mode because it was already close as it was. We went nuts. The builder, though, has a friend who he really appreciates. It's a smaller company, a good bank. And I'm going to say their name as soon as we actually close. If we close, I don't mean to spoil the end of the story. But they hustle, and over the course of, on boat Wi-Fi, I get about 37,000 documents over to these guys. They triple hustle, and a 2-day from the new good bank, I got that we are conditionally cleared to close, which means they've checked out the appraisal. Everything checks out. That I qualify for all the money. Everything checks out. That they got all the paperwork and everything checks out. And unless I get arrested in the next 2 weeks, I think we're 2 weeks away from the look. We turned that frown upside down.
Wait a second.
Bryce has now turned the picture upside down for the audio listeners, and now he's smiling.
Yeah. Wait, I thought that we were conditionally approved the first time, and it's still.
Okay. Well, there's conditionally approved, which means, hey, we think you're a good credit risk. We're going to go forward. So there's pre-qualification, then there's conditionally approved, and then there is conditionally cleared to close, which means not only there's hey, your credit score is good. Then there's hey, we're looking at your accounts, and you do have enough money to justify this. And then there's we have your accounts, we've seen all the numbers, and we have all the necessary paperwork to make the underwriters feel good. And the underwriter has said, yes, we just need to do a little bit of housekeeping on this.
Effectively, the pencil neck fuckwad that Brian was talking to before at the other bank was like, okay, cool. Now I get to go to my pencil neck fuckwad, bespectacled, boffin asshole of a boss. And they're all at a big meeting. And it's like, hey, I want to lend this guy this money. And I want to lend this guy this money. And then big boffin was just like, I don't know. When will the renovations be done? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, cancel the loan. Call him today. So now somebody who actually gives a fuck about making money, who actually gives a fuck about making dreams happen, is behind this. The puppy is closer than it has ever been before, and not to make your butthole tighten, Brian, but how long do we have on this exclusivity window to negotiate?
The exclusivity window, I think, closes because I want to say it was a 45-day period to secure financing, and then 15 more days to prepare to close. I think, assuming everything goes through, we're down to the wire, and like maybe tomorrow is when we push the stuff to the title company and we're good. So here's the other thing. You know me, backup plans, right? That's one of the magician in me, right?
Exactly. There's always an opportunity to jump out of the car and run inside the Del Taco.
Well, and it's it's weird to be talking to my agent, and my real estate agent is like, oh man, I'm really worried about this, really worried about that. Well, what if this, and what if this doesn't go through? And so he sends me the link of or a number of what's called a hard money lender, which I believe sounds an awful lot like a loan shark.
Yeah, but it sounds like to me. It's like, like, oh yeah, no, we do this kind of loaning and payday loaning. That's our business. and so I exchange pleasantries. I'm like, well, we'll see, this other thing or whatever. And how would you explain to an agent that, like, if all of this hits the fan, that it's like, well, then I could just, I don't know, ask the fans, whatever that means, because we've got some fans who have some money who I feel like would chip in, and people have reached out to me privately and said as much here and there. But I'm just like, man, that is a coupon of last resort. I really want to, there'll be a time for that. It's not that time right now, but it's the quiet confidence that I feel like I have to explain to this agent. I'm like, I don't know. I'll just ask the internet if all this falls through. But luckily, we're not there. Oh my God! All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It sounds like next week, when you guys are back on the mainland, that we will have some fairly final close to final. At least you guys will be have a closing date, I would assume, by 7 days from now.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, here's the weird part, and I don't think even you and I have talked about this. I realized, I don't know, I was goofing around, and I opened up Twitter analytics just to peek in, and Twitter analytics told me that I have tweeted less than, not less than half, but about half as much as I usually do. And I'm like, well, that's not like me. And then I realized that it's like, oh, shit, no, I'm so nervous. I don't even want to talk about any of this in public, and it's stopping me from sharing a bunch of stuff. And I noticed, like, I haven't been doing Patreon lenses because I didn't want to be a poser. And so I just can't wait to lock all this in so that we could share the place, share the vision, share the story, share every element of doing all this. It's me. Like you saw me for reals clam up in public just because this means so much, you know?
Well, knowing how much I've been in the blow by blow of this, like, I didn't find out about everything falling through until everything had picked back up. And then you were like, ha ha ha, funny story. And like, even then it wasn't like, you won't believe what happened. It was like, oh yeah, it's great. We were on the cruise ship and we did this. And one of the kids got sick and the loan fell through and then it came back up. But now we're in the mainland and it's great. And I'm like, what? So I can sense, I have not even asked you about it because I know that this is shit that is infuriating for a million different reasons. So I look forward to next week when we will have a closer idea to how things are going.
Yeah, dude. So how's your week?
Well, let me ask you a question, Bryce. We're coming up on a fairly heavy episode. Do we want to try and do the game now, or do we just want to keep bullshitting and make this a looser vacation episode and push the game till next week?
I'm fine either way. If you guys got more stories, go
I
for it.
definitely have more stories. We saw lava. Bonnie was very, very upset. We've got like a dream board in the shitter because when you're shitting is when you think about your dreams.
I actually have. I have memorized that dream board. I have taken a shit in that bathroom so many times over such a length of time that I know that is it beating your dad in a round of golf and meeting Jack Black, and one of the animated, the artistically rendered version of that list is to poke lava with a stick. That is a thing.
That's right. Although I'm gonna remove the play golf because I realized Trump has really ruined that for me. It's true.
Like, I no longer love my dad anymore. What?
I love my dad. I don't love golf anymore. It's been ruined.
You understand that like golf is only the exclusive domain of white men over 50. Like nothing else.
A little bit.
That Trump, like the vast majority, in fact, a near monopoly of United States presidents, also happens to be in a white man over 50.
So, but Bonnie, that poke lava with the stick thing, Bonnie was so excited she signed up. One of the excursions was going to be you go and you see real lava, right? You get fairly close to it. But I don't know if you heard, there's a bit of lava all over the place in Hawaii, and it's getting to the ocean, and it's getting to where it explodes in giant steam sacks. That's a real thing.
Sure.
Steam explosions. A dude had a glob the size and weight of a refrigerator land and crush his leg, and now he doesn't have a leg. And so as a result, Bonnie's excursion was canceled, and she was so upset. She was just like, all I wanted was to see lava, and now I can't see lava because there's too much lava.
Oh, no!
It's irony. Alanis Morissette.
Yes, there's a lot of iron in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of iron. And Alanis Morissette just
punch him in the face, Bonnie.
Recreated that
all right.
that's an old reference.
All right. So, but what they did is they canceled one of the stops in the excursions, but the boat went by. They did a drive-by, and it was, dare I say, better because they did it at twilight. Normally, the excursion happens only in the day, but it happened at twilight going into night, and I tweeted about it. At that moment, it was a day or two from the summer solstice. There was a perfect half moon directly overhead. To the right in the west was Venus. To the left of the moon was Saturn. Coming up over the horizon was Jupiter. And in front of me is Mordor. Like, I don't know if Bryce could pull up that photo, but there was so much lava in a river that it was glowing off the clouds above it. And it was as like spiritual and magical an experience as seeing the full-on solar eclipse was. It was amazing.
Dude, that's fucking insane. That is a once in a lifetime occurrence.
Yeah.
And unless you live in Hawaii. In that case, you probably see it a lot.
Yeah, that's the video. I think there's a photo on the one that links from, or the one below it. The video didn't turn out super well, but there you go. Yeah. So there's the moon, and there's the star, and then there's Mordor.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! That's the end of the world right there.
Right?
Holy shit! Yeah. So for those of you only listening, there is like the horizon is engulfed in flame. It is. What was the comedy with all the comedians in the apocalypse?
The blue collar comedy
comedians
tour.
in cars getting coffee during the apocalypse.
God damn it. Motherfuckers.
Is that not the title?
End. It looks like this is the end. Like when
Okay.
you look out into the Hollywood Hills.
Into the world, or wait, I know what you're talking about.
This is the end. He just said it. You found it. You got it. All right. Bonnie is relaxed in this public park because just before we went over here, I'm gonna out you. Before we head out here, Bonnie's
Weed,
like,
right? That shit's fucking okay in Hawaii.
I'm like, hey, if we're gonna do night attack, we have to go right now. And Bonnie's just like, all right, I got to get the kids out of my head. And she goes, can I get a? And I was like, yeah, go for it. And so she comes walking out with 2 beers, and I'm like, oh, it's a public park and there's no alcohol allowed. And she goes, I'll put it in a bottle. And so I walk around, I'm getting all the equipment. I walk back, and she's holding this clear bottle, clearly filled with beer all the way to the brim.
Protein suspension.
I don't do this all the time.
And then I'm like, well, you can see the beer. She's like, yeah. And then she takes one of the kids' socks and wraps it around the bottle. So she's just drinking from a tube
I'll tell you what,
sock.
it looked like a fitness thing. It did. I wouldn't have called it as a child's sock over an alcohol receptacle.
That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So, you are now on the mainland. You've told mostly cruise stories. Any fun Hawaiian Waikiki adventures that you guys went on?
Oh man.
Oh, yeah. So we go on this tour. It's Heaven and Earth, and so the first part is Brian being like a child. Do you know, like you give a child a helicopter toy, and then his eyes light up like this, like and they're just crazy for it. But then Brian gets in his seat and they click him in, and then he's just like, oh, I'm in a helicopter. And he was super adorable. He's a little bit like this. Wait, turn your face. He's just like, wait, make your super adorable face.
I don't know what it looks like.
It's like this.
Okay, all right.
He's so happy. Anyways, and so we get on the helicopter and we see all this cool stuff. But then I didn't realize it was 4 hours of touring on land. So we're hauling our kids around to like listen to this guy like drill us on all like Hawaiian stuff. But it was delightful. Like the guy was really good at it. He's a really good performer, and Brian's enjoying it, and all of us are mostly enjoying it, but we're also ready to go. But then he's just like, yeah, but my pig, my pig is on TV. You guys have to come see my pig. And he takes us to his house, and we get to pet his wild pig. It's this wild boar that is like 600 pounds. It's just crazy. But we all got a good luck picture with this wild boar.
Wait. Why was this pig on TV?
Because it needed to be detusked, because I guess a boar in the wild, their tusks are constantly getting chipped off, and so it's fine. But absent that, when they're domestic, the tusks will go up, curl around, and then eventually poke into the cheek, and they just keep on growing and growing and growing. And so he had to get it fixed. And so they're like, well, this doctor will do it. Also, he's the star of National Geographic's Dr. Guggenheim, or I don't know what the name of it was, right? And so they had camera crew come over, and they watched him, shoot the pig with a tranquilizer dart. Pig fell over and then sawed off the tusks, and and then then that was that. But
So Brian has a celebrity photo out there.
yeah, me and the wild boar.
Oh, that's amazing. Real quick, because you did mention flying in a helicopter in Hawaii. Did you know that you and Darren Kitchen apparently can't stop being on the same Pacific Rim islands with each other?
Yeah, Darren Kitchen tweeted out the photos of him proposing, like also with TC's helicopter from Magnum PI in the background, as he's on top of a mountain proposing. And what's funny is like, oh, he's in Hawaii too. Maybe I should reach out. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thought you've ever had, Brian. That is not,
I think you guys were both appropriately busy with other business at the time.
Exactly.
But yeah, a big shout out Darren Kitchen and his beautiful now fiance engaged. So everybody in the Diamond Club family, please go ahead and hit him up at Hack5 Darren and congratulate him on getting engaged. I know it was a big moment for both of them, obviously, because they got fucking engaged.
He was so cute when we were in
Australia.
Yeah, he was talking like, oh yeah, I'm not sure when to do it yet, and then everything. And it was adorable. There was so much gushing love, just oozing through him at the time that I was glad to see that picture. Confirmed everything.
Oh yeah, no. So big shout out.
So I guess after I think that might be it. I don't think we did any other excursion things. Oh, we did a tasting tour where they walked around and just found they just did this tour. We paid for this tour, and apparently for 2 hours you just follow someone around as they walk around the jungle, and then every so often she stops and goes, hey. And she picks some shit off the ground and goes, you can eat that. And then walk a few more steps. And we're like, whoa. And you're like, yeah, you can eat that. And then we're just eating.
But she's just like handing back snacks to people?
Oh, yeah. She's like, she runs over, she goes, she kicks something like looks like a football and it goes tumbling over. And then she comes back with this this thing that looks like Bonnie's drinking sock. And she says, you ever eat bamboo? And I'm like, no. And she just peels off chunks of it, and apparently like real fresh bamboo. It was delicious. It was crazy.
It tastes like a green.
Well, shit. I'll tell you what. That is amazing. How much longer are you guys there?
A few hours, and we head on back. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back.
Wait a minute. You guys are like, you're literally in your last hours, like right now, or is it tomorrow, or?
It's like I don't know, 36 hours from now. I think we're in the home stretch of a 2-week bit.
I want to ask Bonnie this question. How ready to go home are the kids?
Oh, today was the day. Like Josie sits down and she goes, I miss sneakers. I know he's getting all the attention from the house sitter, but how's he doing really? I miss Kepler tackling me. I miss the house. I miss my bed. Can we buy a purple bed? Because that's really good advertisement, You
guys are killing me with this purple bed shit.
Oh my God. Hey, by the
one.
way, I tuned in and big shout out to Bryce. On the weekends, he does Night Attack rewinds. So he goes back and shows old episodes of BB Live show and NSFW. And there was an old NSFW show where and it would be very much worth a rewatch by you guys. Do you remember the hashtag sorry not sorry episode?
Oh, I remember that hashtag, and I remember us riffing on it. I don't remember. Did we say inappropriate things and then hashtag sorry not sorry?
Oh, what we did was, for whatever reason, you got a little burr in your saddle about a talk show with a bunch of tween girls.
God damn it! I'm afraid. I was afraid this is the one, and of course, go on, keep going.
Beyond whatever else happens, there's a moment in which you project forward to like almost exactly right now the personalities that your daughters will have, and oh my God, you fucking nailed it. Like it was kind of amazing.
That's amazing.
But you're like,
okay.
oh,
Well,
no,
I'll have to get that. Can you give me a synopsis?
Yeah, like Penny's gonna be the shy, snarky one. Josie's gonna be the one that would be right on that couch, being the popular girl. I think Callie had literally just been born like within a year or so. But then you also revealed that when you were on the way to college, your mom pulled over the car. In the closest thing that you got to a sex talk, that a BJ feels as good as sex.
Have a good time at college, kid.
That's it. Get the fuck out. A BJ feels as good as sex, which I assume is just, your mom's version of like, please don't have a kid immediately. Like,
That's not what it was about. I mean,
Yeah. By the way,
and no,
my
for the
mom
record,
and Crunchy in the chat apparently in agreement on this issue. Both girls, not boys. Very authoritative.
Yeah. Good luck. Keep peddling those fucking wares. Anyway, it was a great trip down memory lane. Oh no, we have just lost the Brushwoods.
We lost him. We'll see if we can get him back.
I'll tell you what, while we do that, let's go ahead and get into a little Diamond Time. Diamond Time is where you can shout out your project right here on the show. And I'll tell you what, when we don't do this every week, apparently y'all sleep on it because we only have one submission right now. So let's go ahead and get to it. W. Scottus1 writes, hey guys, for those of you who don't know, there are smaller but still great shows on Diamond Club. A long time ago, a Slack server was created called the Diamond Club B Team that was used to communicate with each other before Discord was around, and we've stuck with the name B Team for a while. We want to change that, though. This week on the smaller Diamond Club shows, we're going to try and come up with a new name for ourselves, and we're doing it Night Attack style. You can go to YOLO420.com/B Team name change. There's a Google Doc. Use that Google Doc to submit some names, and we as a group will decide between 2 or 3 names that we like, and it'll come down to a final straw poll. P.S. We're doing our own movie draft right now alongside the Night Attack League. Check out the standings at tinyurl.com/bteamdraft18. That is bteamdraft18.
All right, so we have Brian back. Apparently their battery died.
Yeah, our battery died, and in fact, here, I'll plug this in so you have decent audio, so you don't have to listen to miserable room mic. Here, give me another, hit me with another Diamond Time.
Well, you missed the part where we said we only have one.
Yeah, it turns out we don't have, but we might have the movie draft minute.
Welcome to Movie Draft Minute, presented by CosmicRadio.tv for the week of June 25th, 2018. I'm your host, Roberto Villegas. Quick production note, I'm going to be out of town next week, so we're going to have to catch back up in July. But until then, you know what? Let's just skip all the preamble and go check the scores. Team Chips Bitch is in 6th place with $222.3 million. Team Tell It Anyways in 5th place with $304.8 million. Team Night Attack is in 4th place with $418.6 million. Team Core Killers is in 3rd place with $442.3 million. Team John Trekker leaps into 2nd place with $571.4 million. And in 1st place with a whopping $751.1 million. It's Team DTNS. And that is your Movie Drive Minute for the week of June 25th, 2018.
Totally screwed or only highly likely screwed? How do we feel
tell you
about...
What, Ryan, what you don't understand is what The Rock will do for his family.
Dude,
like skyscraper fever, baby. Catch it.
As you know, sometimes Tom Merritt gets to see movies before they come out, and he has embargoes that prevent him from being allowed to give any opinion about any movies that he sees.
Yes.
So he could not indicate whether or not he thought it was a good movie or a bad movie.
So he's seen Skyscraper.
Yes, he has. Separately, end of sentence, new sentence. Tom Merritt thinks we may not be out of the game.
I heard from Tom Merritt that apropos of nothing, for whatever reason, the Skyscraper embargo is very close to the release date. It's like 4 days away, right? And some movies, like I think like Ant-Man and the Wasp just screened, and that's like a week ahead of time, week and a half ahead of time, and everybody's been talking about it. It's apparently a really good movie. The head of Rotten Tomatoes apparently was very animated about how stupid of an idea it was that Skyscraper had such a ironclad embargo, that he feels, the head of Rotten Tomatoes feels, that it's very stupid that they don't let critics talk about what they saw at the screenings of Skyscraper. So take that for what you will. But I know that I'll tell you what, I've noticed the ad spend on it has been beefy. Like, they are putting a lot of money into the ads for Skyscraper. So, look, Jurassic World has done about the lowest possible version of what is passable for us. We need Skyscraper to overperform. We will see. Luckily, the best news we had with Jurassic World is that it did effectively slap down Incredibles 2, which, since John Trekker is really our chief rival, if it had come out 2 weeks after Incredibles 2, I feel like we totally would have been fucked. But at least we stepped up there, Gross.
We saw Incredibles 2 over the weekend. First thing we did when we got off the boat is we had to kill some time before the house was ready. So we went and saw Incredibles 2. Do you want to talk about it or save that for the after show?
Yeah, we can save that for the after show. But did you get a boner like the reviewer of the New Yorker did while watching Elastigirl?
I
What?
did not read that review.
Oh my
I saw the
God.
Fallout chatter around it.
He suggested that Elastigirl was so sexy in this movie that it might send Daddy's popcorn flinging over his head because his trebuchet-like boner would be so explosive upon watching this children's movie that it would just fire this bucket of popcorn over his head comically, showering the entire crowd in this metaphor about how much of a fat ass Elastigirl has.
Do you know, I thought it was hilarious because I thought it was the most realistic, like, body thing that you can make a mom look like, you know?
Oh, the wide hips that happen after birth and all that stuff. Yeah,
like it totally looked like a mom to me. I'm just like, oh, that's kind of nice. Like, she totally looks like a mom.
Yeah. So this, can we talk about plot points, or do we have to keep it?
Let's go ahead and wrap it up here.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, Brian. What have you learned on this episode of Night Attack?
Man, I learned that my new studio is a public park in Hawaii where I have 5 bars. Actually, what I thought of is, after how well this works, all I can think of is, man, the puppy's got 5 bars LTE as well. It's gonna be good.
Good. Brian, I'll tell you what, I have learned that you should not piss off a father while his kids and wife are snorkeling by canceling his loan.
Yeah, I learned that that, man, I missed you guys, and I'm really, really glad that we are just chatting again. It's awesome.
I also have learned that there are only 15 fanny packs left. Clickclackfannypack.org if you want to get fanny packs. Only 15 left, and when they are gone, there ain't no reorder, homie. That is it.
All right, well, I cannot wait to get home and get back in studio. I will see you guys next Tuesday.
Die in a fire!
Night attack. Night attack. Night attack. Night attack. Night attack. I love you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.